I'm Heather from here booktubes, and today is my favorite new to me authors of 2022. I have a couple different criteria for this, so that does mean some authors do kind of fall through the cracks because they didn't meet the requirements for any of the years, but they are favorite authors. But this is favorite new to me authors in 2022, so that means that I cannot have read a single solitary line from them before the start of 2022. I have to have read and loved more than one book from them. I can't have absolutely adored one and the other one have just been meh. I can have meh books from them, but I have to have more than one absolute favorite book from them. And the last requirement is that I have to be actively interested in reading more of their work. So we're going to start with my absolute favorite. My absolute favorite new author of the year is Kingfisher. They write fantasy romance and horror, which I have not got to read any of their horror yet. This is the author that I want to read everything that they've ever written. So far I've read 4 books, 3 in one fantasy romance series, and another one that was supposed to be the start of a series, but I think is the only book out. And let me just rave about their writing. First of all, they write older main characters. They write imperfect people. They write dialogue and meet cutes and humor so incredibly well. You spend so much time with the couples, even though they are very slow burn. At least a couple of the books they've said I love you on like the last page of the book, which is not my jam, but it is when Kingfisher writes it, let me tell you. I am loving everything about their books. There's these really creepy supernatural factors. The characterization, not only of your main couple, but also the side characters. I feel like they do such a good job of, within just a couple of lines, you have a really good, not just like vivid mental picture of this person, but also of their character and what type of person they are. And their plots are so interesting. I am in love with their writing. Like, I want to read everything that they've ever written. All of the things. I know Kingfisher has been extremely popular on BookTube this year. I did add her to my TBR this time last year with people's wrap-ups, and I thought that I added her because of Angela at Literature Science Alliance, and turns out that wasn't true. She was like, I've never read that book. So I'm really not sure what completely motivated me to put Paladin's Grace on my TBR, but I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad that I did. I love them. I would just really encourage you to pick up one of her books, and if you're not immediately sucked into her writing, okay, but I'm telling you, she has my attention from page 1. And it's like a very interesting mix because there's quite a few things happening, but it doesn't feel overwhelming or fast-paced or chaotic. It feels less so, and yet when you look back at the book, it's like, wow, a lot happened in this book. I love her characters. I am definitely a character reader. I'm definitely a dialogue reader. She delivers all of that and more. The perfect blend of fantasy and romance. If you like those two genres, I think that this is an excellent kind of crossover book for those, or author for those. I absolutely adore her. I plan on reading another of her books this week. I'm just obsessed. Truly my favorite author of the year. Then I have Claire Kent. I've read her entire Hold series. It's 4 books. Loved it. The first book is a prison planet, and that's really what drew my attention. This was a recommendation from Steph at Novelty Corner, and I'm so happy I picked it up. And not only did I pick it up because I love like the prison planet and you have to find a man that can protect you and you give him sex for it. I am very into that trope. Don't look into it too much. I really picked it up because Steph said it was good. And I was like, okay, this is one of my favorite tropes. I never find one that I love, but I always am intrigued by the idea of it. And Steph loved it, so I'm gonna love it. So I'm so glad that she recommended it. The first book and the third book, which is Cavemen Those are my favorite books, but I give all of the books in the series 5 or 4 stars. I have another book of hers on my immediate TBR currently. Sure, they're books. These are like 200 pages. Just love where they start with a couple. You're really starting with the meeting. You don't have a lot of build up. Even though her worlds, you know, are not our world, she still really weaves the world building into the story rather than an info dump or a lot of things before our characters meet. You're meeting right away. I really like the mixture between like early smut and still working on our feelings. I found it all so fascinating. I cannot wait to read her dystopian books. I am very much into her writing and her characters. So easy to read. Then I have Cole McCade, who I have read 3 books in the Criminal Intention series. And this author has been recommended to me so many times. Obviously, the way I was trying to think of her name, Robin at Paperbacks and Planners, of course, is currently loving the series and really motivated me to actually pick it up. And I love it. I love it. It's like a perfect police procedural crime show, but in book form. It's a slow burn, many books, slow burn male romance between 2 detectives, one who just transferred there, is a higher rank and is younger, and one who is older. They're both queer men. They are put on a case together where queer young men are being brutally murdered, and that's the start of the series. You get that mystery wrapped up in each book. It's really like the seasons of a crime show. This series currently has 29 books in it, and when I tell you I plan on reading them all, all of them, they're all, again, only like 200 pages. But wow, the character work, I feel for them. I can't wait to continue. I would absolutely read his other series. Just incredible writing. So good. It really gives me that fix for that crime show that I want, with still like not being super stressed out and feeling safe and things like that. And so many things, again, I'm only at book 3, but so many things are being hinted at that we're going to be reading. I'm just like, wow. Wow. I can't wait to read more. Really loving his writing. Really loving the series. Love these characters. Love these 2. Just need them to get together. Just need them to love each other. Oh, they like rub each other the wrong way, and yet they also care about each other. Is so fascinating. I'm very into it. And I have Asia Monique, who writes the Mafia Misfits series that I am loving. I feel like I don't read a lot of series where I read like the whole series, but these authors really are kind of the exceptions to that, I guess. She writes the most lethal main characters, and I'm so happy about it. So often when you get Mafia books, the girl has grown up knowing her entire life that her life is in danger, and have they given her an iota of skill to try and protect herself? No. Nothing. They put guards on her and that's it. So as soon as the guard gets taken out, she's defenseless. It drives me nuts. It does not make sense to me. It seems like to me, if you know that you are more risk than the average person for whatever, you might take precautions. But that often does not happen in Mafia books. And Asia Monique, she is not about that life at all. Her main characters are so lethal. They're so skilled. They are such like the top of the food chain in every way. Also, all the families that we've read so far, very supportive, very loving. So you have all these Black Mafia families. Not only are the women well taken care of, protected, lethal in their own right, trained, respected, but also you have the supportive family element that is often missing from Mafia books, and again is something that I don't like. I don't like reading really toxic families. It stresses me out. Especially like abusive parents. I don't like reading it, and the fact that that is not in these books makes me so happy. But then also we're following such interesting interconnections between all these different mafia. So far we've had the Italian, the Russia, and the Yakuza, and the next book adds Irish into the mix. I'm so excited, and like we keep seeing siblings like marrying, so like we keep interconnecting all the families. it's so good. It's so good. I am loving the world that she is setting up, the way that the organizations interact with each other, the way that they're connected, and just how absolutely, like, again, they can all kill you so easily, and yet they are also like the most compassionate people, and I love her characters so much. So currently reading the Mafia series. When she finishes the series, or when I catch up or what have you, I will probably branch more into her kind of fluffy contemporary books, which I think I will also really enjoy. But so far I've just been reading the Mafia and I am thrilled with it. Like, I can't tell you how good it is to read a main character that can kill anybody in the room. Give it to me. Then I have Drea Anderson, who writes very low angst, low conflict, that's important, low conflict Black paranormal books. So I think all of the books I've read have been shifter, but I know at least one which was in a main character. I love these. I feel like I always have one on my TBR. I know what I'm going to get. I'm happy to get it. I'm really looking forward to the release that she has this month. Her heroes are very alpha, very protective, and her main characters, I feel like, have a lot of range in them. Some are more protecting themselves, and some are kind of seeking protection. Some are quiet, some are not. And I like that variation, and how being quiet or not being quiet, or needing help or not needing help, is not a sign of strength and weakness. It's just differences, and I like that. I don't like when people act like women have to be tough and hard and strong and or assertive in order to be deserving of respect. I very much dislike that narrative, and I feel like Drea Anderson does an amazing job of giving love and protection and respect and care to lots of different types of personality types. So I love it. I think that the way that she weaves magic and shifters together is fascinating, and even when there's messy drama, again, it still feels safe, and I like that. Then I have Carmen Lee, who writes queer small town romances. The series I've been reading is Coffee Shops, and the first one, the owner is a single dad. His daughter tells him that she's queer on page, and I loved that, and just the way he was so supportive. The second book is sapphic, and one of the characters, their family is not supportive, and we don't ever have a showdown with that. We don't ever have a coming out scene, but we do see her finding love kind of at the risk of losing her family, but not having to go through that scene or see what happens, or whether she lost her family or not. Like, that's all left kind of up to your interpretation, I guess, and I really liked that. These are slow burn in a way that I really love, even though I'm not a slow burn girly, but they're slow burn in a way that I really love. They're funny, they're cute, they're sweet. While your characters are sometimes grappling with more difficult things, again, it feels like safe books. It feels like there's a lot of care taken with any issues that might come up, and that you're never going to have a trauma for shock value. And I really love the way that her characters, whether they're prickly or not, the way that they treat each other and the relationships are so charming. I really do enjoy it so much. Then I have Onley James, who writes the Necessary Evil series. These are all male books. I believe it is a woman author, so do be aware of that. But they are psychopaths who are trained to kill abusers, and it's like a billionaire crime family social experiment. So interesting. Insta-lust. Heavy on the insta-lust. There's definitely a lot of heavier topics. You're going to be taking out abusers who abused love interests and things like that. Like, there's a lot of heavier stuff in this series, but it's a good balance, I feel like, between being focused on the couple and dealing with those issues. And I am such a sucker for psychopath, sociopath obsession. I love those, and this is like the exact relationship dynamic that I'm looking for when I want those books. So So I'm very into it. This is another one that Robin and stuff absolutely love. And clearly I'm influenced by those people. And lastly, I have Sophie Lark. The duet that I particularly loved from Sophie Lark is the No No Saints? I don't know. This serial killer duet is quite fascinating. It's new adult, it's dark. It was a duet where the second book for me was just as good as the first book, and I felt like really nailed the conclusion, and that just doesn't happen very often for me, especially when it does come to relationships. I feel like you often take several steps back in the second book, and that annoys me. I don't want to reread the start of a romance again. I want you to be making progress on what you already built. And I felt like this duet did it really well. So I have not loved all the books that I've read by Sophie Lark. However, I am very interested in picking up the Kingmaker series, and I did love this duet. I thought it was excellent. So that's it. That's all of the authors that were new to me in 2022, that I loved multiple books from, that I'm looking forward to picking up more, that I feel like are just so good. Like, I feel like they're going to deliver when you pick them up. So let me know if you have read or want to read any of these. Let me know if you're a fangirl, gay or they, like myself. And if you have loved any of these and want to talk spoilers, definitely DM me on Instagram, because clearly I would like to rave about them. So if you want to do that with me, definitely do. I'm always happy to hear from anyone who wants to talk books. So thanks so much for watching. Bye!